Okay, next and last one. Talk about very, very interesting topics. The one that Barry Higgins skipped this morning, not just to not make an overlapping presentation. Here we have Guilherme Ramirez, or Reines for the friends.
Internal joke.
Yeah. From Brazil, very, very long journey to be here. BGP on version 7, and here we are.
Thank you, my friend. So, let's talk about BGP a little bit on the version 7. I know you guys are very excited about the raffle, the big raffle in the end. But I promise I'll try my best to do it straight to the information so we can have the raffle as soon as possible. So, well, this is not about me, but of course, some of you guys don't know me. I'm from Brazil. I became a consultant in 2009, became a training partner 2010, academic coordinator in Brazil since 2013, and I'm gathering a lot of certifications. Well, I tried to create an agenda for this presentation, but the topics are measured. So yeah, we are go through the topics, but not in the right order, because some of those topics are measured. So yeah, we're gonna through all this, but not in this sequence. Okay, so what has changed from the version 6 to version 7? Yeah, first we have to talk about the redesign engine, routing engine. In the version 6, we have a Quagga-based routing engine that was compatible with any other brands that was running BGP on version 4, of course. And on version 7, we have now a completely redesigned engine made by MikroTik, okay? And this way, we have a totally different configuration. For example, we have no more instance or peer configuration. Instead of this, we have a connection, templates, or sections to create your own setup. Also, we have a completely redesigned filter rules syntax. And this is very important. We're going to come back to talk about the routing filters in the next slides. And finally, if you want to try to use some old script from the version 6 on the version 7, it will not work. Not for BGP configuration or routing filters, okay? Well, let's talk about performancing. On version 6, we have a misunderstanding about 100% CPU. I'm pretty sure you all guys know about this problem. And this problem is an specific problem. We have a multitask or core processing for a lot of information on the routing protocol on version 6. For example, we have a multi-protocol or threads for OSPF instances, for example, BGP feed right after the connection is established, the very first feed, okay? RIPE, neighbor, sync, and etc. So the routing process is multitask on version 6, yes. But it's not for the main problem that we have, that is routing update messages. And we have a lot of routing update messages and different routing update messages. And that's why we always get in troubles running 2 or 3 full feed tables on version 6, because the router is not able to solve the problem to give you the result of that routing update on time. Sometimes you get timeouts, yes, unfortunately, because this specific information is pointed to just one core. And we know that the cores that are running on the CCRs are not that powerful. They have a small clock, so that's the main problem. Sometimes even a simple routing table print can generate a problem. And here goes the first tip of this presentation. Even in version 6 or version 7, try always to use the command line. Okay? Winbox is not a PlayStation. Okay? You just click, 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 click. No. Sometimes you have to remember that it's a server-client communication. Okay? You are running the client side, and you need to wait till the server responds you. And when you are using the Winbox, sometimes you can get lost because you don't know if the router has finished that information that you send to it. So if you use the client, the command line, you input an information, and then you need to wait because you don't have your prompted back. So you have to wait. So this is a very good tip. If you are running, or if you are trying to add some information, or if you need a routing table print, use the command line, okay? It's better. You're gonna know for sure that your information is already processed by the router, and you have the proper feedback from it. What has changed now in the version 7 is that we have them in text that can start to stop subtasks on process between those subtasks. So we have a lot of changes from the version 6 to the version 7. And we also can manage the way the router is going to do this. Right now, MikroTik is managing it by the router with the, we don't know the default option that they are using. I will tell you in one more or two slides the options that we have available to manage by yourself. But I think in the future, MikroTik will point the best solution for the best kind of router when they deliver the next updates. So right now, for example, way far different from the version 6, we can have up to the 100 unique process pointed to different trees or core. So we have a very good improvement at this point. Here I bring you guys a real case scenario that I have running in Brazil, so we can feel the difference. We have here like 23 BGP active sessions, as we can see here, down here, 23 active sessions, okay? And we have around 4 gigabits of throughput at this point. And it's running on a CCR 2116. And we can see here that we have like a 23% CPU load. And in the previous version, version 6, in a CCR, maybe even one CCR 1072, if you have like 3% of CPU load, maybe you are having problems with the one core usage. And here we can see that in this example, we have just 2.4% for the process routing. And how do we know that the tasks are managed by more than one core or thread? This way. We have the routing stats now, routing stats. You can go to the routing stats and see here, for example, in the top, we have the main process that I told you guys before in the previous slide, and the process that is responsible for dividing the tasks to the other CPUs. So we have here the process ID from the core CPU. And we can see here some of these are managed by the CPU number 1, for example. Okay. Here we have the tasks, and here we have the information from the peers, IPv4 or IPv6 memory that are in use, and go through all the CPUs. Look, all the CPUs are on usage, and they are divided by the main tasks to the different peers that we have, IPv4 or IPv6. So here we can make sure that all CPUs are running and they are delivering the best result as possible. Okay. By default, we have affinity setting that is made for management, for CPU management. And we have 4 options, actually. I just brought here 2 because they are the most important ones. And as I told you before, we don't know the default option for this setup here because it's not there on the wiki page. We will never know. But I think MikroTik will manage it dynamically based on the router that you are getting. So I think that's why we don't have what is the default option there. But what I can tell you guys is that we have 2 options here. I think they are the best options we have. One called alone, that the input-output, each of the sessions are processed, and most likely our best option when you have a lot of cores and a lot of peers. So if you have a CCR 1072, 1036, should be the best option for those routers. And we have another option called main. That's, I think, is the best option for when you have a PC or x86 server, for example. You have a very powerful CPU with a small amount of cores, but very powerful cores. So this is the best option for this type of scenario. Also, very important option we have here in filters is which filter do we want to use? Because by default on version 6, all these filters were available by default. So if you want to use some community, for example, the router is ready to send out communities. And since version 7, we can now choose which kind of extra routing update you like to use. So just go to the filter tab and choose which filter do we wish to use. And have in mind that every filter that you enable here will generate a new kind of routing update. And of course, yes, you can have some extra CPU consumption, of course. How to upgrade? We have a few tips here, okay? I was about to skip this part, but it's very quickly. It's not a problem. We have basically 2 ways, of course, to do it. Directly from the version 6.4080.6 plus, we have update option there in the packages. So you can go from the version 6 to version 7, or you can move it manually all your configuration if you wish, okay? But of course, if you decide to do this way, make sure you have the proper skills to do this, and always double check all the peers and filters that you have after this migration, okay? And if you need to downgrade back to version 6, yes, is it possible also? My tip at this point is make sure you have at least version 7.3, okay? Because otherwise you may have face some problems. Usually with communities, or extended communities, or large communities, they are not migrated back correctly, okay? So make sure you have at least 7.3, 7.4 if you wish to downgrade back to version 6. And of course, make sure you have a backup on version 6 if you want to downgrade back to version 6. And one more important information, have in mind that not all router boards support RouterOS version 6, okay? So take a look at the materials, the old PDF that you have on the router board website and make sure what operational system that router requests to run. Okay, let's talk about the new resource that we have in version 7. And on version 7, we have the MikroTik calls templates. And of course, we already know what a template means. And in this case, I can tell you it's a very good point that MikroTik added here, because we can create one different profile for each necessity you have. And you can have, for example, tons of profiles, different profiles. And then when you need to set up a new client or a new internet exchange peer or something, you have already a profile for that. So it's easier to manage a lot of different connections. It's easier to make some changes if needed. So yes, you can create more than one, and it's very useful too. Dynamic peers. Dynamic peers is also a very good improvement that we have on version 7. It allows you to establish connections based only on remote address or network. This is important for what? Allows you recover disasters quickly, disaster scenarios quickly. Allows you to establish fast connection on demand. If you have a demand, quickly demand, you don't need to know which ASN, remote ASN you have it to configure or typo the wrong remote ASN. And of course, for study, it's very good option too, because you can create a huge scenario just like this, just using a network / something, and then you can create a lot of dynamic peers. FlowSpec came on version 7.2, and so far until the 7.14, we don't have full functionality of this resource, but it's a very good resource that allows the admin to have more than the information that we have from the best pathing selection algorithm. The best pathing selection algorithm gives us good information, but not information about what kind of traffic that I'm enabled or sending out. So FlowSpec can give you protocol, IP, source and destination information that is very important, for example, for managing DDoS attacks. So RouterOS version 7 can pass it forward, but it's not able to manage it right now. Even in the last 7.14 version that I checked yesterday. Performance. So here we have a performance test that MikroTik just made it, and we have a huge difference. It's quite easy to see if you have tried version 6 in your router, and then you move it to version 7. You're absolutely sure you have noticed this huge difference on the table load. You have like a 50% more speed per load. It's impressive, actually. And also the memory. It's using less memory, much less memory than on version 6. So you can also run smaller tables, of course, on switches. For example, if you want to manage an internet exchange that is not that big, it's sometimes it's a very good solution for the new switches that we have on the MikroTik switches. The RPKI that our friend Michael just talked with you guys on the previous presentation, it's available since the version 7.1, and it's very important tool to make sure that you are getting data from the correct ASN. So it's working. It's fully functional now on the last versions of RouterOS version 7. And how about a setup from scratch? You guys may remember that on version 6, it was quite easy to deploy. And version 7, it's also very easy, but I always recommend you guys to use this sequence. First of all, create your own template or group of templates if you wish. Put all your information you needed here, and then you can add all the peer connections you needed. Then all the information that you provided before on the template will be filled automatically on the peer connection. So we still basically have 2 command lines to start a peer connection. But if you wish, it's still possible to do it in just 1 command line. You can pass all the information in just 1 command line. And of course, sometimes it's necessary because you don't need to create 1 more template for that specific situation. So yes, it's okay. You can do it. You can specify that remote IS, remote address, or remote hoping option, whatever, or eBGP, Internet Exchange, or customer. Specifically, yes, it's okay. It will work also, okay? It's not that, it's not mandatory that we always use it this way, okay? I recommend you guys focus on this idea. First, set up your template, and then go to your connections, because usually this scenario will grow, and it will help you in the future. But okay, it's not a rule. And always, of course, remember that the main purpose of this presentation is provide an overview of the BGP on version 7, okay? Do not take the previous example as a default setting for your ESP. Of course, you always make the right adjustments according to your own scenario. Well, okay, very good part now, troubleshooting. A common error troubleshooting BGP is to try figure out what's going on. What's the problem? Did I typo remote SCN, my SCN, any address? It's normal. We just having in our mind that the problem may be one of these options. Yes, maybe yes. Maybe you just did it or misplaced an instance or a peer info. What's the best solution? Always take a look at log session. It will be there. It will be there, okay? It will be the fastest way to get the correct feedback. Always, also, you need to remember that BGP peering is a 2-side configuration setup that must match. That must match, okay? This means that sometimes the error will be not on your log session side. So sometimes you need to ask the other side to provide you to report the error that it's getting. For example, when you just type your own ASN, you won't get any log error, okay? It won't be on your log. In the version 7, we have very nice improvements for the log session. Here we can see, for example, what was exactly made by this user, admin user. Here we can see the peer 1 was added through the winbox, address, user, and the exactly line that was inputted, the exactly line, okay? We have here. So this is very important information, very good improvement that we have on hidden in version 7. Down here, we can see a common error that is in red. For example, if you are trying to connect to a remote peer with a different remote ASN. So yes, at this point, you're gonna get a log error, yes. So you have chosen one, and it's getting another different one. Implicit logs. This is very important also. In this case here, you are trying to connect to a remote address that it's not on your route as a connected route. If you try to do this, try to connect to a remote peer that is not a connected route, you're gonna get an implicit error, okay, that will show up in the bottom of the window, the connection window, okay, or in the connection winbox table, okay? The information is you cannot listen incoming connections missing local address. So you must provide a local address, and of course, at this point, you are talking about a multi-hop session, okay? eBGP multi-hop session, okay? So you must choose eBGP multi-hop and provide the local address. Another implicit log that we have, it's prefix limitation. Prefix limitation, it will not show up on the full log session. As we saw here, the implicit log for the local address problem. This also will not show up on log session, okay? It will not show up on log session. And prefix limit exceeded also will not show up on your log session, okay? You must look at the status tab here for this information, or sometimes on the connection tab also, but sometimes this takes time to refresh. So you must use a F5 function on your keyboard, or just change Windows, and that it will get refreshed, okay? To enable the information, disable the information in both ways, okay? And one more information, if you are using, I just tried it yesterday, and prefix limitation is not working, it's broken on version 7.13, okay? I didn't try in the last 7.14, but it's still broken up to the version 7.13, okay? It's broken. Advertisements. So when MikroTik started to run the version 7, we were not able to find out what prefix we are advertising, and that was weird. But thanks God, since the version 7.2, they decided that, yes, you may probably need to know what prefix you are sending out. So they decide to add this information that it's not enabled by default, okay? It's not enabled by default. If you want to know what prefix you are sending out, you must enable this information, keep sent attributes, okay? And as MikroTik is recommending, you should just use this information when you need it. Why? Because this information will be stored in memory, okay? That's why this option is not enabled by default. You must do by yourself, okay? So, enable, and then go to the advertisements table and print wherever you want, okay? Here we have an example from advertisements from this peer. This is a simple example. And down here we have an example of this address, who you are sending out this all address. Filters. Since the version 7, you have a completely redesigned engine, and finally we have, of course, a completely different syntax for the routing filters also. Okay? It's a completely different. You cannot try even one command line from the version 6 on version 7. It's impossible, okay? It's impossible. One important thing that we need to remember is that since version 7, if you don't set up any filter to appear, the default action is accept. You can send out prefix, you can receive prefix without any filter, okay? But since you set a filter to appear or an instance, the default action is now reject. Okay? Reject. And so far in version 7, we have almost, I can almost say that we have a rib and fib merged together in the same table. And I don't like this kind of solution that MikroTik are using now. I think they will change it in the future. But what we have is all these rows merged together in the same table, in the visual table. Okay? So be careful. We don't have a discard option yet. That should be the best option to remove one row from the fib and just leave it on the rib, for example. And don't worry about blue rows, okay? And the inbox routing table. And actually, in fact, you should not use it to manage BGP, okay? Don't try it. Sometimes you're going to break the router, you're going to break your inbox sometimes just because of this. Just use the terminal, it's the better option, okay? And, of course, don't get confused with the new action that is called delete, okay? This is used for remove BGP communities, okay? It's not the discard. No, we still don't have discard option or action. So pay very close attention in this example here. Here we have a print from a routing table that is reporting 6 routes. 3 of them are active, and 3 of them are not active. Okay? All the gateways are reachable. Yes, so we don't have any problem here. No problem at all. Okay? Here we have a different situation where we have all the 6 routes, exactly the same routes here. And we have 3 routes that are active and 3 more routes that are inactive. Inactive, okay? So pay very close attention because on the Winbox, you're going to get almost the same result. Visually, almost the same result. And then that can be dangerous, okay? That thing can be dangerous. And that's why I do not fully agree with this solution that MikroTik brought us, okay? I think they should do like they did on version 6. So if you have an invalid route, this route probably is filtered, okay? Usually they are filtered. Of course, you can have an unreachable gateway, but usually it's gonna be a filter matter. Another common mistake that can happen is when you try directly translate our filter from the version 6 to version 7. And it's a small difference, but in the end, we will return you a completely different result. For example, in version 6, if you want to filter out all the /24 roads from this /22, you just need to use this filter. Prefix, blah, 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 prefix length 24. Okay, the filter will filter out all the /24s from this /22, and it will work perfectly. Version 7. Destination address equal, this is /22, and then destination length equal 24, accept. Good? No. It's not going to work, okay? And so far, we don't have a syntax error there. And that's the problem again. We don't have a syntax error there. Hopefully in the future, it will change, but right now, no. And what's the difference? The difference is that we have to use this operator here that is included on that /22 network. So you must use this operator when you try to point more than one thing or network inside a supernet, for example. Okay? And the rest, it's okay. Destination length equal 24. So this syntax will generate this result correctly, okay? This will not, okay? This will generate probably an error. My suggestion, try to use the command line. The command line will guide you through the routing filter. If you try to use the inbox, it's sadly terrible. Okay, it's sadly terrible. If you use the terminal, that's a good option. See, you can start typing your filter, okay, and then you can use tabulation key, the tab key, to deliver you the help you need. Even if you don't know how to do it at the very first time on version 7, you can see that the tabulation key can help you through the way, all the way through. So tab, you're going to get operators, options, actions, and also the syntax. You're going to see in the end of this input, see? Syntax, options. So at this point, MikroTik they did a very good job. They did a very good job here because you can do by your own. If you know how an operator works, what this information is for, what an action do, yes, you can do by yourself, just using tabulation key and all through the end. Okay? So take this tip. And of course, always have a look at the documentation. Always. Okay? I always suggest you because it's changing all the time. Yeah, you may know it. It's terrible. I had to change my presentation like 2 or 3 times and modifications since January or February. But it's always good improvements, of course. So yes, we have to agree with this. Okay? And so far, I didn't find a tool to make this conversion from 6 to 7 or 7 to 6 available on the internet. But of course, if you know one, or if you have one, and you'd like to spread it out, just talk to me after my presentation, and I'll be glad to update my slides to include your tool there, or this tool you know. Final considerations: make sure the router you're gonna buy supports version 7 only, okay? Because sometimes you are planning to buy a router, and you are planning to configure it on version 6, and there is no version 6 available for you. So make sure before buy it, okay? Also, make sure you will be able to manage the router by yourself. That's a very important thing also, okay? Why? BGP is like a 3-year-old child. Can provide you happiness or darkness in a matter of minutes. You know? Yes, that's real. And of course, if you're gonna use the version 7, keep tracking of the current updates. Why? Because sometimes you want to update and sometimes not. Trust me. So keep track on these updates. And if you can manage your router smoothly on version 6, stick with that if you cannot do the same on version 7. This is a very good tip. Trust me. Okay? But if you decide to use version 7 anyway, you can manage it smoothly like on version 6, you can always look for specialized support. Okay? MikroTik have a lot of certificate consultants and trainers all around the world. Okay, guys? Sorry I took more time than that they provide me, but I hope I kind of helped you all with this presentation. Questions or Rafael?
Any question for Guilherme?
Over there.
Also you? No.
I have a question about the affinity settings in the BGP peer.
Yeah.
So you talked when we have like a lot of cores,
Yeah.
right? It's better to use the alone.
Alone.
Yes. But when we have the like powerful cores, it's better to use main,
Main.
right?
Yes, correctly.
But what's your opinion about with ARM64 devices? Because we have like a 2004, 2116. I just want to hear your opinion.
It's a prank question, I know. Okay. My personal opinion is if you want to run BGP on CCRs, yeah, with ARM architecture, and you need to a full table, you're probably gonna need a router reflector for this. Because if you want to run it on the same router that is delivering the traffic, I personally do not recommend you to do this. But if you have a lot of different peers and you don't need a full table, you can filter out the AS path 2 reachable roads from each ASN, and you have a really, really smaller table, and then, yes, you can handle the traffic, you can handle the routes in a very good way on these routers. So, but if you need a full table, to deliver a full table to a customer, for example, I recommend you to create a router reflector and push all the traffic to other router and use it just for BGP, not for forwarding traffic through this router. Okay? Anyone else? Here, my friend Alessandro. It's coming.
Did you experience the accept filter, the new accept filter, input accept? You can accept network layer reachability information, prefixes, and also for community and so on.
Yeah. Sorry, repeat again. It was too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There are new filters in BGP, the input accept for network layer reachability information and communities.
Yes.
Did you make some work on it? Because I experienced some difficulties, so I want to ask.
Yeah, some of them, like NRREI, was broken. Yeah, we were probably talking about this one. Yes, it was broken, but it's working fine since 7.13. Yeah, but at the very first moment that you enable, you're gonna have a huge load of CPU there, and then it will equalize. So if you have any kind of scenario that is on the top of the CPU, you should not use it at the moment. Try another time when you have all the scenario without traffic. It's more safe.
Yeah, because it's a good way not to have routes inside IP route
Exactly.
list.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good option, but you just need to remember this tip. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Guilherme.